Engineers thought they had already solved one of the hardest problems in the design of future computer chips. Then, a single experiment reversed a ranking the whole field had trusted for years. The material everyone expected to win came in dead last. And the reason why could change how the next generation of chips gets built. Researchers at the National University of Singapore, publishing in the journal Nature Materials, tested the one assumption the entire industry had been quietly building on. And what they found flips the chip race on its head. Somebody was wrong. The contest was supposed to be about who discovers the strongest insulator. It turns out it is actually about who can build the cleanest interface. By the end of this, you will see the real bottleneck, the one no material breakthrough and no export control can solve. And you will understand why the atomic scale race just shifted from a chemistry problem into a manufacturing one, so quietly that almost nobody in the headlines noticed the ground move. Start with the bet everyone made. Modern chips are running out of room, so to keep shrinking, engineers began building the most critical layers out of materials only one atomic layer thick. One single layer of atoms, thinner than a nanometer. At that scale, you still need something to stop electricity from leaking straight through. And for years, the favorite was a material called hexagonal boron nitride. On paper, it looked ideal. A wide energy gap, a clean, flat surface. It became the crown jewel of the whole roadmap, the insulator the field was betting its future on. Beside it sat two other candidates, molybdenum disulfide and tungsten disulfide. Both excellent semiconductors, but both considered weaker at the narrow job of blocking current. So the ranking looked settled. The crown jewel on top, the other two beneath it. Then the Singapore team measured what actually happens. They tested the leakage current across all three materials at a single atomic layer and compared them against the industry's workhorse insulator, silicon dioxide on silicon. And here is the result that shattered the ranking. In monolayer form, hexagonal boron nitride, the supposed best insulator of the group, let more current pass through than both of the materials it was meant to beat. The favorite finished last. Wait, the best insulator leaked the most? How is that even possible? The answer is almost cruel. It failed precisely because it was so good at being thin. Electrons at this scale do not stop when they hit a barrier. They tunnel. They carry a probability of appearing on the far side of a wall they never technically crossed, and that probability climbs sharply as the distance shrinks. A single layer of hexagonal boron nitride is so thin that it shortens the tunneling distance, and a shorter distance hands the electrons an easier path straight through. The very quality that made the material attractive, its extreme thinness, is exactly what betrayed it. But here is the twist the researchers themselves did not expect. The material was never the real problem. When they looked closer, they found the true culprit was something the entire field had been treating as background noise: the gaps. The surface of the bottom electrode is never perfectly smooth. And when you apply an electric field across it, that roughness changes the leakage current more than the insulating strength of the material sitting on top of it. Think of it like a door. You can hang the heaviest door ever built, but if it does not sit flush in its frame, the draft still pours through the gap underneath. At the atomic scale, that gap decides everything. What governs the leakage is not simply the insulator you chose. It is the true distance the electrons must travel, including every microscopic space between the material and its electrodes. Wait, if it is not the material, then the whole industry may have been optimizing the wrong thing for years. That is exactly the point. And it is where this stops being a materials story and becomes a strategic one. For years, the front line of the chip race has been chemistry. Who can discover and perfect the exotic material that unlocks the next node? Billions have poured into that hunt. But this study relocates the battlefield. If the limit is not the material, if the limit is the cleanliness of the interface and the flatness of the electrode, then the decisive weapon is not a chemistry breakthrough at all. It is process engineering. It is metrology. It is the unglamorous, brutally difficult craft of the clean room. Picture that clean room for a second. Workers sealed head to toe in white suits. Air scrubbed hundreds of times a minute. Every speck of dust hunted down, because at this scale, a single contaminant is not a smudge, it is a leak. That room, not the periodic table, may be where the next chip war is actually won. So consider the shift carefully and stay analytical about it. If any country can consistently manufacture cleaner atomic scale interfaces than its competitors, it could reduce the advantage of discovering entirely new materials. That does not guarantee leadership, but it could change where leadership comes from. The race everyone framed as a hunt for the perfect substance may turn out to be a contest of pure manufacturing discipline. Now some honesty, because this channel does not trade in hype. What Singapore delivered is not a chip you can buy. It is a design principle backed by a peer-reviewed study in one of the most respected materials journals in the world, with named researchers behind every claim. Not a product, not a factory, not a launch date. And a nuance a careless summary would butcher. This does not mean hexagonal boron nitride is a bad insulator. Stack it a few layers thick and it is still one of the finest materials in the field. The failure is narrow and specific. It shows up only at the very thinnest limit, the single atomic layer, which happens to be exactly where the most advanced chips are heading. And the geopolitical stakes here are a lens we are adding. The paper itself is Singapore physics with no politics in it, and clean interface manufacturing is a discipline where the established toolmakers already hold a serious edge. So the shift rewards process mastery, but it hands no one a free shortcut. Which is why this matters far outside any laboratory. Two-dimensional materials are the leading bet for whatever comes after silicon. They are the foundation for the ultra-thin transistors and the atomic scale memory meant to carry computing through the next decade. And nearly every one of those bets quietly assumed the insulator problem was already solved. This study says it was not. It says a whole generation of atomic scale devices could be leaking power and losing reliability for reasons their designers were never even tracking. Which brings us to what nobody noticed. On the surface, this looks like a small technical result about one material misbehaving. Look tactically, and it is a new line on an engineer's checklist. Smoother electrodes, cleaner interfaces, fewer gaps. Look strategically, and the axis of competition just moved. The race everyone thought was about discovering the strongest insulator is actually about building the cleanest interface, and those are two completely different national strengths. And look at the whole picture, and the irony turns almost poetic. An industry spent years and fortunes hunting for the perfect material to control electricity. And the real barrier was never the material at all. It was the empty space between the pieces. The gap we could not see was deciding who wins. The team's own conclusion points the way forward. Build more reliable atomic scale devices by improving interface uniformity, engineering smoother electrodes, and minimizing the nanoscale gaps and contaminants no one was measuring. Simple to say, brutally hard to do, but now the field knows where to look. And the next power that survives the shift to a single atomic layer will not be the one that found the perfect material. It will be the one that mastered the gap. If this story gave you a new way to see the race to build atomic scale chips, subscribe now, because we track the moves that don't make the headlines, the shifts that rewrite global power before the mainstream catches on.